First reason is Linux doesn't have any kind of distraction or playing game. Not at least like how you can play in Windows. So that's a good reason. If you are a developer, then obviously you don't want to play game in your PC whole day. Linux helps you to do that. It doesn't have much distraction like Windows. Windows operating system always tends to make sure that you are going to watch something or like play games or something or other, because Microsoft makes money using that. But Linux doesn't have any kind of such things. There is no any kind of distraction or advertisement or anything like that on operating system level. You just get your operating system and it's pretty much boring because there won't be any kind of distraction. It exists so that whatever you want to do in your computer, maybe programming, maybe web development, maybe coding, maybe mobile app development, whatever it is, it's going to help you do that, but not distract you with playing unnecessary games or installing some random app which might keep you entertained. There is no such distraction in Linux. Second reason is most of the dev environment and development softwares actually gets tested on Linux, because the reason is Linux runs on server. So whatever the software which they are building, they have to first make sure that it works properly on Linux. If it is not working properly on Linux, that means they might not release that particular product. So that's why whatever the version you are going to get, most of the time you are going to get it first on Linux, and you will be able to test the latest and greatest feature of any kind of dev environment, maybe Node.js, maybe PHP, or maybe whatever the language. It's going to come and it's going to be stable in Linux first, rather being stable on other operating system like Windows or Mac. That's why in this particular case, Linux plays really amazing role, that you are going to get stable softwares and you are going to make sure it will be usable on production level environment first, rather like working on Windows where you might need to do like lots of tweaks and all. Even in Mac OS there might be some tweaks and all in order to make sure something works, but in Linux it will work in the beginning only. Especially products like Docker and all, it works properly on Linux only, so that it is built into Linux first of all. That's why Docker and other software is going to run amazingly on Linux. So if you are a developer, then it's a good thing for you that you are going to get stable and latest feature if you want to try it out. So that's why that's the amazing feature. Third reason is it works fast, at least not like Windows, which is like very slow. In order to open one settings in Windows, you will see some loading screen. In order to start some application, it takes a lot of time, because Windows as a OS itself takes lots of RAM, and it runs lots of background process, maybe tracking your data, maybe like trying to think which advertisement to show you next. So all these things keeps on going on Windows operating system, but not on Linux. Linux actually does whatever it says that it will do to you. So most of the time it won't have any kind of such background process and all. Whatever you want to run on the background, it will run on the background, and most of the software will run only after you tell it to run. So because of that, Linux works fast, at least than Windows. Nowadays, because of SSD, most of the computer will run faster, and you won't see any kind of delay and all, even Windows. But the thing is, when you are doing multitask, that time Windows will start hanging and all, if you have lots of things and application, this, that and all, everything is opened up. But not on Linux. In Linux, most of the time, everything will run smoothly. Even if you have hard disk, it's going to run better than how it runs on Windows, because Windows might take 2-3 minutes to get started on hard disk, but in Linux it might take just hardly 1 or like 1.5 minutes if your hard disk is that much old. But SSD, no problem, it is going to boot faster and you will be able to use it amazingly. Fourth reason is, once you develop something, what do you do with it? You release it on production. So in the production, what do you think is running? It runs most of the time Linux. So whatever the project you want to release, maybe Node.js, maybe PHP based project, maybe Django, all of these things is going to run properly on cloud. So in the cloud, if you have to install some operating system, obviously you will be installing Ubuntu or some other operating system which are available. It will be based on Linux only. You won't be needing any kind of Windows server and buy like lots lots of big Windows license in order to use or release your small website. So obviously you will be using Linux only in the production level. So whatever the development which you do, maybe coding some website or maybe backend, all these things you are going to release it on Linux only, Ubuntu server probably on some of these amazing clouds like AWS, DigitalOcean, Google Cloud, or Microsoft Azure, anywhere it might be, but you will be using Linux there. So because of that, it's amazing that whatever you develop on your Linux operating system, same thing will be used on that cloud, and there won't be any kind of operating system difference. Sometimes I notice that in Windows, if I code something and when I release it to the production, I have to make few tweaks and all, and it's just one extra layer to it. It's not like it's very hard if you do it on Windows and to release it on Linux. It's quite easy, but the thing is, it's one extra step. Using it on Linux is one amazing thing, so that if you develop something on Linux, you will be releasing it on production in Linux only. Most of these Netlify, this, that, and all, probably they also use Linux only in the back end. That's why whatever you install on your local Linux system, same thing is going to get deployed, and it's going to work seamlessly how it was working in your local environment. Last point I want to make is Linux is absolutely free. You don't have to pay any kind of money to use it, or you need to have some kind of fancy hardware like MacBook Air and all. You can just use whatever the computer or operating system you are having in your laptop, and try to install Linux virtually first. Once you install it virtually and explore a few of amazing things in it, then consider moving to Linux a full time. I'm currently using Windows, but obviously I have used Linux from 5-6 years on my other computers. Using Linux is one of the best thing which I have done. Now I'm using Windows for some work related reason. Otherwise I would have installed Linux in it for sure. And whenever I buy some new device, obviously this device will automatically moving to Linux Mint operating system. So I'm looking forward to it. Try to use Linux. Use it. It's free. You don't have to pay anything for it. That's why just go ahead, download it, test it out first, then install it on your main system. You'll be able to do development amazingly, and you can watch even movies and all, and play a few little games also, non-distracting games, by the way. That's it for this video, guys. If you want to know why Linux is amazing, here is one video. You can watch it out and enjoy. That's it for this video. Bye bye.